Hi, Guntown Mike here again. Now, I'm assuming that if you're watching this video, you've just played through the prologue of Pandora Celeste, you've enjoyed yourself, and you want to carry on playing. I really hope that's the case. And I'm also going to assume that you are going to just carry on straight from the end of the prologue, as if you were just continuing to play the game. If you're not, then turn to page 13 of the Learn to Play book and just follow setup instructions 1 through 3 um, to kind of catch up. But I'm just assuming that you are carrying on from where you've left off. And because of that, I warn you now, there are going to be some spoilers. So if you haven't played the prologue and you don't want any spoilers, stop watching this video now, play the prologue, then come back to this video where I will basically tell you how to continue from there. So, to continue from there, look at page 12 of the Learn to Play booklet, and it basically tells you what to do. You remove the lockdown markers from the board, which are these markers here. So we get rid of these 4 markers. So the rest of the front of the ship is now available, and the door, if it's still there, you get rid of it. You also should now see a broken door to the ISO ward with poor Science Officer Kenny lying across that broken door with weird pod like structures growing out of her. Oh no, you say, looking at what they've done to Kenny. At this point, you get to shuffle all of your cards from your discard pile and deal 5 cards back into your hand and put the rest to the left of your player mat to form your deck. And we are assuming at this point that you are basically carrying on from there as if this is a new turn, even though the nasties haven't really had a chance to move yet. You should also take 2 random memory tokens that haven't already been laid out and place them face down in the refectory, like so. And if you are playing true solo, which I am, because I'm basically currently playing as Marina, you also get to take another token that's left over from the memory tokens. And in this case, it is token number 20. And you get to take that card directly into your hand so that you actually have a hand size of 6, and a true solo player has a hand size of 6 instead of a hand size of 5. The first player marker goes to whoever was going to take their turn next, and at this point you turn over the page to page 13 of the Learn to Play booklet, and you follow the scenario setup instructions. And instruction number 4 is you should take a yellow objective marker. Now, I apologize. I have realized that the symbol on the yellow objective marker has been changed since we did these rule books, and I didn't notice. So the symbol that you're looking for is actually this, which is a kind of triple star type effect. You place 1 objective marker onto turn 7 of the turn cycle tracker, and then you find the contamination alert card. You place it face up on the emergency protocols area, and you place the other yellow token matching that protocol to the timer on the track. And that basically tells you that you have 7 full game turns to shut down the contamination alert, which prevents the ship from killing you. And what the contamination alert tells you to do is to take 2 tokens, a bug pod token, you place that in the ISO ward, and you then find 1 scuttlebug token, and you place that on top of Science Officer Kenny as it crawls out of one of the bug pods that's sprouting out of her. And you are basically going to be using the scenario deck. The scenario deck has a whole series of numbers on its back, like so. You should basically not shuffle this deck, place it on the scenario deck inbuilt area next to the active emergency protocols with 101 on the top, basically drilling down through 102, 103, 104. And at this point, you start turning over various of these cards. Any bugs that are already active and haven't been killed stay active on the active nasty area. And now we turn over card 101, which reveals another scuttlebug, and card 102, which reveals the bug pods. If you don't have enough room to put them all onto the active nasty area, either just extend the active nasty area to make enough room, or just put the next row above the row that you've just laid out, like so. You then take the next three cards from the scenario deck, cards 103, 104, and 105. If there are 3 or more crew in the game, you are going to use all of these cards. If there are fewer than 3 crew in the game, then you discard card 105. And then you will place these cards off to one side in the emergency protocols area. They are things that you will need to collect, and you will place a scenario marker that matches them. And you place those scenario markers in the cryo chamber, scenario 3, and scenario marker 4 goes into secure locker 1, like so. And these are the things known as MacGuffins that you're going to need to pick up in order to shut down the contamination alert. Then you will take cards PC 107 and 106, and you will place them face down in the active nasty area. You don't know what they are, but they will be activated when you get to certain areas, and so you're going to place token S6 and S7 into the refectory and the changing rooms. And then finally, if there are fewer than 4 of you playing the game, and for me there is, then I take token S8 and I place it in the ship's stores, and I then take card PC 108 and I can turn that over when I enter the ship's stores, and so it goes into the active nasty area, like so. Now you're going to lay out the tokens that are in the game, and essentially the ship tokens come in 2 sorts. One has letters on one side, and those letters relate to certain areas on the ship. So CL means company locker, so you place token CL into the company locker. KS, you place token KS into the kitchen stores. SL1, you place that into secure locker 1, and SL2, you place it into secure locker 2. You place them face up because all crew always remember where these things are, because they are always there in every single ship. All of the other tokens are face down, except for one, and that is this token, the Fen token. And the Fen token you should simply remove from the game. Fen does not take part in this part of the learning campaign. The other remaining tokens, and in my case I've got 4 remaining grey tokens, I shuffle them up, and having shuffled them up, I basically place them onto the board on the areas that have got a spanner showing on the board that don't already have a face down grey token. And I place them in the order that they are stated on page 14 of the instruction manual. And if I had any more, I would keep on going. But as it is, I've now run out of tokens, so I stop placing tokens at that point. And I've already placed the memory tokens from section 12 of the manual when I continued from the first scenario. And so now you have set up the game. The ship has locked down the ship's quarters. So there is a lockdown marker in both of the airlocks at either end, and those lockdown markers cannot be bypassed. This is the playing area of the game for this scenario. And your objective in this scenario is basically to shut down the contamination alert. In 7 game turns, the ship is going to open all of its airlocks to vacuum, killing you all, unless you can convince it that the danger has been passed. And the way that you bypass that danger is you basically pick up these items from locker number 1 and the cryo chamber, and if there are 4 or more of you, the other item is in the computer room. You then all come together in one room. You play what's known as an engineering action to basically discard those cards, these cards here, and combine them into a flamethrower, which is card 109. And then you take the flamethrower into the ISO ward and you burn out the pods in the ISO ward. That's how you win this scenario. Okay, so you've now set out the game, and now there's just a couple of other things I need to tell you about. The first is the full turn structure. You've already played out the crew round in the prologue. You're going to do that again, and every full game turn is made up of a crew round, a noise and doors round, and a nasty action round. During the crew round, you take it in turn to play one action card at a time until somebody passes. When somebody passes, everybody else can play 2 cards in a row, and then they too must pass. And you do not get to replenish any cards until everyone has passed. Then, during the noise round, you look at the noise on all of your face-up cards, and whoever has played the most cards with red noise becomes the first target that everything on this ship zeroes in on. If red noise is equal, you look at amber noise. If amber noise is equal, you look at yellow noise. If yellow noise is equal, you look at green noise. And if it's still equal at that point, whoever was the last crew member to make noise on the ship becomes the first target. Having worked out who's made all the noise, any red security doors that are open on the ship automatically close, and you replenish your hand up to a hand size of 5, 6 if you're playing full solo. If you run out of cards to replenish your hand with from your deck, you take the cards from your discard pile, you shuffle them to form a new deck, and you keep replenishing up to your full hand size. Once you've got a full hand size, we're into the nasty action round. During the nasty action round, any nasties on the board will activate in the order in which they appear on the nasty action track at the top of the board. But not all nasties activate every turn. You take a look at the icon on the bottom left corner of the nasties card. If it looks like this, it's a little nasty that activates every turn, but you'll notice that bug pods have a different symbol, which means that they only activate on turns 2, 5, and 8 of the game. So at the end of your first turn, turn 7, the bug pods will not activate. To find out what they do, you draw 1 card from the nasty action deck for each nasty, and you look at the relevant AI box. In the case of little nasties, you look at the blue AI box that's at the bottom of the card. This one says follow instincts. When a nasty follows its instincts, you take a look at its entry in the Xeno data log, and in the case of a bug, you will see that its observations on instincts: when little nasties move, it moves 3 towards the first target, and it attacks the first non-bug it encounters along the way, and it will attack for 2 damage. That is summarized on the bottom of the card. And you simply flip a card for each nasty that is on that nasty action track. You do not have to reshuffle the deck if you get a reshuffle. You only reshuffle the deck if the nasty's action triggers combat, at which point you reshuffle the deck and you do some combat. One last thing you might find useful to know is that in the sick bay there is an auto med, which allows you to play any card from your hand face down into your discard in order to heal back up to 2 cards from your wound tracker. And Marina might want to do that on her first turn because she's got a wound, and the wound comes straight back into your hand, not your discard, because you know the way these movies work. You go to the auto med, you heal up your wounds, you surgically remove something that's eating through your stomach, and the only downside you have for the rest of the movie is every now and again you wince in a little bit of pain to show that you've had major surgery. Anyway, that's it. You now know everything you need to know to go in to toast a bunch of bugs. If you have any queries, first of all, take a look in the index of the rulebook and see whether the rules will answer them. If they don't, feel free to post a query on Board Game Geek and I'll answer when I can. But also, always remember the movie rule. If in doubt, ask yourself, what would happen if this was a movie? And just interpret the game that way. Because that's what this game is all about, living your way through your own alien style monster movie, whether it's the hero, the heroine, or the villain. It's entirely up to you. So, have a great time and go toast some bugs. See ya.